press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello everyone. In the last session we had discussed about the respiration, one of the life process. So in respiration what happens? There will be the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, that is breathing. And also in the cell, okay, in the cellular level, the oxidation of the food will take place, and this will result in the formation of ATP, and also it will produce the energy. The ATP will later produce the energy, and also there will be a production of carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide is further transferred to the lungs, and in the lungs the blood vessels they will diffuse with the alveoli. Carbon dioxide is diffused to the alveoli, as well as the oxygen is taken to the blood vessels. So here diffusion will takes place in the alveoli and blood capillaries. So this was about the respiration, and we also studied that the blood will carry the oxygen and carbon dioxide, right? So that is the transportation. So today let us discuss about this life process, that is transportation. Okay, so in the transportation there are different types based on the source. Here glucose. So glucose is a nutrient, okay, it is the result of digestion. So after the digestion process, the glucose will be resultant. That means the complex food material will break down into a simple molecules. So one of the molecule is glucose. So this glucose will be transferred, will be absorbed from the intestine, small intestine, and it is transferred from the blood vessels to each and every cell, right? So glucose is one of the source, and oxygen. So oxygen is the result of respiration. That means when we breathe in, we intake the oxygen, and this oxygen is carried by the blood vessels, and it is supplied to each and every cells which are present in our body, right? So we had discussed about these concepts. So in the respiration what happens? The glucose, okay, if it is the cell, the glucose, also the oxygen will be utilized by the cell, and as a byproduct it will produce the energy one, as well as with the energy carbon dioxide and also some salts like urea, okay. Here the oxygen is again taken by the blood vessels, so it belongs to the carbon dioxide, it will belong to the respiration process. The respiration will take the responsibility to take out or else to eliminate the carbon dioxide from the body. And here the salts, okay, the salts, they must also eliminate, okay, this urea which is present. If it is present in our body for a long time, it will be harmful, so it must be eliminated from the body. So this urea, the process called excretion, is responsible to take out some of the harmful salts or else harmful byproducts from the body. It must eliminate, right? So the excretion process will responsible to eliminate these salts. So here the salts must reach the kidney and also the urinary bladder, okay. So here to reach the kidney, again the cells will take the help of blood vessels, and these blood vessels will carry these salts, and they will send the salts to the kidney via blood, okay. So here different types of transportation takes place. Not only the carbon dioxide and oxygen, these all are the transport, this all involves in the transportation process. Okay. Now, as I said, the transportation which involves majorly the blood. So blood is the major part of the transportation process. You all have studied in 9th standard that the blood is the fluid connective tissue, right? So the blood is fluid connective tissue. So what is this fluid connective tissue? The matrix which is present, okay, the matrix which is present in the tissue or else the cell, it will be in the form of fluid. Okay, the matrix. What is this matrix? So here matrix is a plasma. Okay, in the blood the matrix is a plasma. The blood has two parts again. One, it will be in the liquid form called as plasma, and another one is solid form. Okay, here I'll write solid. So in the plasma there will be water, okay, water, some salts and proteins. Plasma, the liquid part. Blood is divided into two. One is plasma, another one is some cells which are present in the solid form. Okay, the half of the blood will contain the plasma, and this plasma has water, salts and proteins. And here, what is the solid part? Here, solid part is the red blood cells, okay, and white blood cells and platelets. The red blood cells, okay, these are responsible for carrying oxygen. These red blood cells have a red pigment, that is hemoglobin. We had studied in the previous session that hemoglobin, it will carry the oxygen, right? So here the red blood cells are responsible for carrying the oxygen, whereas the plasma, okay, which is present in that plasma, the food, okay, the food or in the form of molecules, the food as well as the salts, the nitrogenous waste as well as the carbon dioxide. So here in the plasma, the food, the nitrogenous waste, as well as carbon dioxide. Okay, these all transport in the form of dissolved state. Plasma has water, right? So this plasma, it will dissolve all this, the food like glucose, nitrogenous waste, as I said, like urea, and also carbon dioxide, they will transport in the form of dissolved state. Okay, whereas the WBC, it will carry the oxygen. And what is the function of RBC? So these RBCs are involved in the immune system, okay, in the defense mechanism. And these platelets, what is the function of platelets? These platelets will help in the clotting mechanism. Okay, this we will discuss later, but right now these all are functions of the blood. Now this was about the blood, like what the blood carries, okay, what the blood carries and how it transports. Now let us discuss about the heart. So heart is a pumping organ. It is a pumping organ which is present in our body, and whatever the functions of the blood which I said now, these all functions are taken place by pumping of the blood. Transportation must take place when the heart pumps, okay, because to each and every cell of the body there must be some pressure so that the blood can travel to each and every cell, and that pressure is created by pumping, and we all have a pumping organ called heart. Heart is a muscular organ, okay, heart is a muscular organ which is a size of a flip. So this is our fist, and as the size is here considerably, the heart will also be in this size, okay, average. On an average, the heart will be in the size of our fist, okay. Now here in the heart, let us study about the mechanism, how heart pumps. Let us discuss about the mechanism of heart pumping. Before discussing it, I want to tell you that there are two important blood vessels which are responsible for taking the blood to the heart and also from the heart to the heart and from the heart. There are two blood vessels. They are arteries and veins. So these arteries, they will transport the blood from the heart to the other body parts, okay. So from the heart to body parts. Whereas veins, they will transport the blood from other body parts, okay, whatever the body parts are present, it will transport the blood and from the body parts to the heart, okay, from body parts to heart. Arteries from the heart, okay, from the heart to the body parts, whereas veins, they transport the blood from body parts to the heart. So this is very important to study the mechanism of the pumping of heart, okay. Now in the heart, coming to the heart, so what happens when the cells release carbon dioxide, okay, the cells release carbon dioxide. These carbon dioxide are taken up by the diffusion from the blood vessels, okay, from the blood capillaries, okay, there are some blood capillaries over here. These blood capillaries further, they will form uniformly into a veins, okay, veins, and these veins carry the deoxygenated blood from the body parts, or else the cells which are present in the body. From the cells, the deoxygenated blood is carried to the hearts, okay. And here in the heart, there are two entries for the deoxygenated blood to enter into the heart, okay. And here there are two entries. One is vena cava from lower body. That means this vena cava is called as inferior vena cava. It will take up the blood from lower part of the body. From heart, the lower part of the body which is present, the blood is transported from this vena cava, and this is called inferior vena cava. And also there is one more vena cava, that is superior vena cava. So this superior vena cava will transport the blood from the organs which are present upper part of the body. Like from the heart, whatever the upper part is present, this all organs, or else they will transport the blood. This blood will come into the heart from this superior vena cava. So here two types of vena cava, inferior and superior vena cava. Now this vena cava will leads to the entry of deoxygenated blood into the right atrium. Okay, right atrium. So here in the heart there are four chambers: right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle. So now let us study about this right side, okay, that is the deoxygenated blood part. So here what happens, the deoxygenated blood will enter to the atrium, it will enter to the atrium, and from the atrium the blood will enter to the right ventricle, from the atrium to the right ventricle. So from this right ventricle the blood will move to the pulmonary artery. Okay, the blood will move to the pulmonary artery. So this is about the pathway of deoxygenated blood which flows in the heart. Okay, the pumping of the deoxygenated blood is from the right side of the heart. So the right atrium and right ventricle, they will pump the blood to the pulmonary artery. Okay, now coming to the left side. In the left side what happens, the oxygenated blood which came from the lungs. So the lungs, it will send the oxygenated bloods through the pulmonary veins. Okay, these pulmonary veins will carry the oxygenated blood and they will drain the blood in the left atrium. Okay, they will drain the blood in the left atrium, and from the left atrium the blood will enters the left ventricle. Okay, the blood will enters the left ventricle. From the left ventricle it will pump to the aorta. From the aorta the blood will reach the each and every part of the body, different body parts and the cells which are present in all over the body. The aorta will be responsible for primarily the aorta will be responsible to transfer the oxygenated blood to each and every part of the body. Okay, so this is the mechanism of pumping takes place. So does it actually the transportation or else the pumping of the blood? So here the deoxygenated blood will enter the atrium and then the ventricle and then the pulmonary artery. No, here what happens, the pressure must be takes place so that the pumping of the heart can be taken place. Okay, the blood alone cannot flow from the atrium, ventricle and to the pulmonary artery. There will be the contraction and relaxation, the involuntary contraction and relaxation of these heart muscles, like the chambers which are present in the heart. The contraction and relaxation must take place so that the blood can transfer to different parts of the body. So what is this contraction and relaxation? So basically, okay, in the initial step when the blood enters to the heart, okay, blood is about to enter to the heart, at that time what happens, the atrium which is present, it will be in the relaxed state. Okay, it will be in the relaxed state and this is called diastole, and this is called diastole. And when diastole takes place, when the atrium will be in the relaxed time, the blood will enter the atrium, and when it enters, the atrium will contract. Okay, the atrium will contract. So it is called systole. So here contraction is called as systole and relaxation is called as diastole. Okay, and when the blood enters to the atrium, here it will be in the relaxed state. When the blood enters, the systole will take place, the contraction will take place, and the blood will move to the ventricle. And before entering to the ventricle, when the blood is present in the atrium, the ventricle will be in the relaxed state, that is in the diastole condition, the ventricle. And when the blood enters to the ventricle contracts, the systole will take place. And when the systole takes place, the blood will move to the pulmonary artery. Okay, like this is the atrium and this is the ventricle. Okay, when the blood flows to the atrium, it will be in the relaxed state. When the blood flows, atrium will contract, that is systole will take place, and when the systole will take place, the ventricle which will be relaxed, when the blood enters, again in the ventricle the systole will take place. So here the atrium will relax when the ventricle is in the systole state. After that the ventricle will relax, the atrium will be in the systole, like this. Okay, the systole and systole in the atrium and systole in the ventricle, that is in the diastole in the atrium and diastole in the ventricle. So this is the process, the contraction of relaxation which takes place in the auricle as well as in the ventricle. Now when the ventricle gets systole, that is whenever the ventricle get contracted, there is a chances of backflow of the blood to the atrium chamber, right? So here to the atrium the blood can backflow. So for that sake there is a valve. Okay, there is a valve which prevents the blood to the backflow. Here what happens, this valve has only one opening, that means it can open in only the one way, it cannot open to both the directions. Okay, when the blood enters, here it will be closed and it cannot push back, like the valve will be present like this. When the blood flows like this, the blood will flow into the ventricle, but blood cannot flow to the atrium back. So here it will not open to the opposite way, only there will be a one way of motion. Okay, then one way of opening, and this valve which is present is called as tricuspid valve. So it is the valve which is present in the three. Why it is called as tricuspid? Because it has three flap like structures. Okay, three cuspids, three valves. These three valves together is called as tricuspid valve. Okay, this valve is present in between the two chambers, that is atrium and ventricle of right side. Okay, now here when the ventricle systoles, when the contraction of the ventricle takes place, the blood, it will flow to the pulmonary artery. So here during this flow, when the systole takes place, the blood will flow here, but it will not come back when it is relaxed. So there is a chances of comeback of the flow of blood, right? So for that sake, here also there is a valve called semilunar valve. Okay, it is called as semilunar valve. This valve will prevent the backflow of the blood. So the deoxygenated blood, it will enter the atrium. Here systole will take place. After that it will enter the ventricle, and in the ventricle again systole will take place. The blood will then move forward to the pulmonary artery. Okay, so this is a deoxygenated part. Now coming to the oxygenated blood part. that is the left side. So here the lungs will transfer the blood through pulmonary artery, okay, through pulmonary artery, and from the pulmonary artery it will drain to the left atrium. It will drain the blood to the left atrium. Again here systole will take place, and after that the blood will reach the left ventricle. Okay, here also systole will take place, and during the systole here there will also be the chance of backflow of the blood. So for that sake there is also a valve here called as bicuspid valve. Okay, this bicuspid valve has two cuspids, here three cuspids, whereas there in the left side there is two cuspids, so it is called as bicuspid valve. And when here in the ventricle systole takes place, again the blood will be pumped, or else it will move forward to the aorta, from the aorta to the arteries, arteries to the capillaries, to each and every cell. Okay, and here there is also a valve so that the blood cannot move back to the ventricle, cannot come back to the ventricle. For that sake there is also a valve called semilunar valve. So here in the pulmonary artery as well as in the aorta there are semilunar valves, whereas in the right side, okay, in the auricle and ventricle there is a tricuspid valve, and in the left side there is a bicuspid valve. Okay, so this is the mechanism which takes place, pumping mechanism which takes place in the heart. Okay, here systole is important and diastole is important. You must know what is systole and what is diastole and how the blood pumps. Okay, and here there is one more concept. I think you all have noticed that pulmonary artery and pulmonary veins. But here the veins will carry deoxygenated blood and the arteries, aorta, will carry the oxygenated blood. Then what is this? The arteries are carrying the deoxygenated blood, and here veins are carrying oxygenated blood. So here I said before that arteries will carry the blood from the heart, okay, to the other parts of the body. So here other part of the body is lungs, so it will reach the lungs. Okay, so it will reach the lungs. Whereas the veins, I said that veins are responsible for carrying the blood from other parts of the body to the heart. So here veins will carry the blood from the lungs, coming from the lungs. So it is not based on the oxygenated or deoxygenated, it is based on the flow of blood from and to the heart. Okay, that is arteries and veins. Don't confuse with the arteries and veins and pulmonary artery and vein. Okay, now this was about the pumping mechanism. And as I said, in all organisms, different type of organisms, there will be different type of transport system. As the organisms become more complex, the organs will also be specialized, they will also become complex. Okay, and in some mammals, in all the mammals and also the birds, they have 4-chambered heart. It is because the oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood, these both blood must be separated. Okay, this both blood must be separated so that the efficiency of the oxygen, carrying the oxygen of the blood, will take place effectively. And like if organisms, they need more energy, the organisms which need more energy, for that organisms they must uptake the oxygen with efficiency. So what happens, if the blood get mixed, the efficiency will be decreased. So in mammals and other birds, the blood must be separated so that the oxygen can taken up by the cell efficiently, and also the energy can be produced. Here these animals like birds and mammals, they need more energy so that they can maintain the body temperature regarding to the temperature which is present in the environment. Okay, and these type of organisms are called warm blooded. These warm blooded organisms maintain their own body temperature. They will not depend on the environment to maintain the body temperature. For that sake, they need more energy, they need extra energy. So to produce energy, as we know, the oxygen is important, and the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood must be separated so that oxygen can be taken in a more amount, right? Whereas some other organisms like lower vertebrates, amphibians and reptiles, they do not depend on they depend on the environment for the maintain of their body temperature. So they will coordinate with the environment, and then they will maintain their body temperature. So here what happens, these organisms doesn't need much energy to maintain the temperature. They are cold blooded animals, so they don't need much energy compared to the warm blooded organisms. For that sake, in case if there is a mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, it will be okay for them. Okay, for that sake they have 3-chamber heart. The amphibians and the reptiles, they have 3-chambered heart, whereas birds and mammals have 4-chambered heart. And coming to the fishes, so in fishes what happens, there is only 2-chambered heart, that is like they have one atrium and also one ventricle. So in the fishes, they will take the dissolved oxygen from the water, right? So as I said, in the respiration, the fishes have gills. Where they take water, and then the water is pushed into the gills out of the body. So here what happens, in the gills there are blood capillaries, and these blood capillaries will exchange the oxygen and carbon dioxide in the gills. Gills have filament, and in that filament blood capillaries will be present. So there the diffusion will take place. Now the blood, oxygenated blood will enter to the deoxygenated blood will enter to the atrium, ventricle and to the body part, to the gills. Okay, and in the gills the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide will take place, and the capillaries, they will take the oxygenated blood to the other parts of the body. From other parts of the body, again atrium and then ventricle. So like this, the pumping of the blood will take place in the fishes. So these are different type of conditions which organisms adapt for the survival. So in the heart, as we see now, 4-chambered heart, here we have 2 cycles. I think you all have noticed that. As in fishes, there is only one cycle. The atrium will enter, okay, the blood will enter to the atrium, to the ventricles, and then to the gills, and from the gills to the other body parts, and from the body parts again to the atrium. There is only one way, okay, there is only one cycle. But here, if you notice, while I was telling the mechanism of the pumping, if you have noticed, there are 2 type of circulations. Okay, so these 2 type of circulations which takes place in the mammals or else in the birds, this is called double circulation. And let us discuss about double circulation. So if you consider the heart, okay, in the heart there are auricle, left side, in the right side there is auricle, and right ventricle, and here left auricle and left ventricle. Okay, and the body parts. And here the lungs. Body parts, they will transfer the deoxygenated blood to the right auricle, and in the right auricle the pumping of the blood will take place, and ventricle, it will send the blood to the pulmonary artery, and from the pulmonary artery to the lungs. And here the lungs will transfer the oxygenate, here exchange will take place, the oxygen and CO2 exchange will take place. The lungs, they will transfer the blood via pulmonary veins, from the pulmonary veins, and from the pulmonary veins to the left atrium, and from the left atrium to the ventricle, and from the ventricle to the from the ventricle to the body parts. Okay, so here this part which is present, that is from the heart to the body parts, this is called systemic circulation. Okay, and here the lungs part, when heart transfer the blood to the lungs and from the lungs to the heart, this is called pulmonary circulation. Okay, so these two together, the pulmonary circulation which takes place with the heart and lungs, and also the systemic circulation which takes place from the heart to the body parts. Okay, these two collectively called as double circulation. Here one type of circulation will take place, here one type of circulation will take place. These two circulation is called as double circulation. Two times the cycle will be formed. Okay, two type of cycles will be formed, so it is called as double circulation. One is pulmonary and another one is systemic circulation. Now here, till now we have studied about the pumping as well as the double circulation. I think you all have observed the sound which is produced from the heart. Okay, heart produce the sounds like sounds. One is lub and dub. Okay, lub, dub. So how these sounds are produced, lub and dub? What happens when the auricles, these two auricles, when the systole takes place, when the contraction takes place, they will send the blood to the ventricle. Okay, the blood will flow to the ventricle from the systole. Okay, pressure, from the systole pressure, auricles will send the blood. So at that time here, two valves like bicuspid and tricuspid valve, they will close, and this will leads to the sound called lub. The lub sound will be produced when tricuspid and bicuspid valve closes. Okay, and from the ventricle, and in the ventricle when systole takes place, this will lead to the transfer of blood to the aorta and the pulmonary artery, right? So simultaneously both will take place at a time. At this time the semilunar valves which are present, they will close. So here the dub sound is produced. The lub and dub sound is produced. Lub is when tricuspid bicuspid valve close, and dub is when semilunar valves close. Okay, both will take place simultaneously. Lub, when these valves close, semi and bicuspid and tricuspid valve close. Dub, is when semilunar valves closes. Okay, so this is the sound like lub and dub. Now in the double circulation, okay, this cycle will takes place, the cycle will takes place, and in human beings, let us now discuss about how many rounds of cycle, this cycle takes place in the human body. So what happens, it is measured based on the heartbeat. Okay, the cycles, the round of the cycles is by, and there will be 72 heartbeats per minute, and these heartbeats are measured based on the pulse. Okay, it is measured based on the pulse. Now what is pulsed? What is pulse? I think you all have noticed that whenever you visit the doctor, he will check your pulse rate, like if the pumping of the heartbeat is normal or not. So he will check the pulse rate. So here what happens, if you place your hand over here, there will be the artery passing in your hand. Okay, and whenever you give some sort of light pressure, you will feel the jerk which takes place when the ventricle systole will takes place. In heart what happens, the ventricle is the major part, the bigger part. When the systole of ventricle takes place, the pressure will be more, and that jerk of pressure can be like we can feel that jerk over here in the arteries. Okay, in the arteries we can feel that jerk because the blood is moving from the artery to the other parts of the body, right? So these arteries can be feel the jerk, and this jerk is called as pulse. Okay, the vibration of the jerk when systole takes place, when the ventricle systole takes place, the vibration of the jerk can be called as the pulse. So these pulse are measured, the heartbeats are measured by this pulse over here, and the heartbeats can differ based on age and also the body types. So in childhood, when we are small, we have higher heartbeats or above 72, like we have above 72 heartbeats. Okay, but when the body gets older, the old aged people, they have the heartbeats below the 72. Okay, in the children we have they have above 72 heartbeats, whereas the older age people, they have below the 72 heartbeats. So there is one more case, that when we are working out, okay, when we are working out and also when we are doing some activities vigorously, at that time the heartbeat will rise. I think you all have noticed, when you run fastly, we will feel our heartbeat, so it will beat faster. So it is because we need energy, we need more energy to do such activities. For that sake, oxygen is required, and when oxygen is required, the heart must pump quickly, the heart must pump fastly. Okay, and that will leads to the increase in the heartbeat. So this is about the cycle or else the heartbeat which takes place in a circulatory system. So this was about the heart and also the circulation. Now this circulation is incomplete without discussing about blood vessels, right? So blood vessels, these blood vessels are very important for transportation, but heart is also important, so it will take up the pumping process, but blood vessels, they will carry the blood to each and every cell of our body, right? So here blood vessels is very important in transportation, and these blood vessels are divided into three types. As I said before, they are arteries, veins and capillaries. The arteries, veins and capillaries. So here these arteries, as I said, the blood is moved from the heart to the different parts of the body, and the veins. Okay, let us discuss this both. From heart to body parts, and veins from body parts to the heart. Right. So here these auricles, they have the blood vessels. They will be elastic. Okay, they will be elastic as well as thick in nature compared to the veins. Okay, so in auricles the smooth muscle will be much compared to the ventricles, and also the lumen, it will be narrow. Lumen, it will be narrow, and here the lumen will be broad, or else okay, there are two types of blood vessels. One is artery and veins, and in the artery they will be thick and elastic in nature, but veins, they are thin compared to the arteries. So why this takes place? So here in arteries the blood will be pumped out, the pressure will be more. Okay, the pressure of the heart will be the pressure of the blood flow will be more, and to resist that pressure the arteries will have they have elasticity as well as they will be thick in nature, whereas the veins, these veins carries the blood from the different body parts. Here pumping will not take place, the pressure will be less over here. For that they doesn't need to resist the pressure. For that sake they will be thin and the elasticity will be very less compared to the artery. Okay, and the lumen will be narrow in the artery and the lumen will be broad over here. And one more point is that this artery, when the blood is pumping, the pressure, the force will create the blood to flow in a unidirectional way, only one way, in a unidirectional way. But the veins, there are some chances that blood can flow back. Okay, there will be not high pressure, the pressure will be very low, so the blood can be moved back to the organs. So for that sake the veins have the valves. Okay, veins will have valves so that when the blood flow they cannot come back. Okay, to resist the backflow of the blood, the veins have the valves, but arteries, they doesn't contain any valves. Okay, so here these are the difference which are in the arteries and veins. Now coming to the capillaries. So in the capillaries, the arteries, okay, coming to the arteries first. Arteries, they will divide, they will branch to form arterioles, and these arterioles will branch again to form capillaries. These capillaries, they will be surrounded to the cells. Okay, and again in the cell the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. The exchange will take place. Oxygen enters and carbon dioxide will exit. And here again capillaries, they will carry the blood, okay, the deoxygenated blood to the venules, okay, and this branch of venules will join to form a wider tube that is called veins, okay. Arteries, they will divide or else they will branch into arterioles, and arterioles they will again branch to form capillaries, and the capillaries will be present surrounding the cells, and again the capillaries surrounding the cells, they will branch, they will join to form a wider tube that is venules, and these venules again join to form the veins. So here the capillaries, they will be a single celled vessels. The wall of these capillaries, they will be single celled, okay, like how we saw in the alveoli and also in the villi, right? They had only single cell. The outer layer was only made up of single cells. Like that, the capillaries will also have single cell, so that the diffusion can take place easily, okay. So this was about the blood vessels. So in the next class, let us discuss about the platelets, the lymph, okay, the lymph organs, and how the transportation takes place in plants. So till now, I think hope you all understood about the heart, the pumping of the heart, the double circulation, and also the blood vessels, okay. Thank you.